in the team show jumping event. The particular team of Graham Taylor's will be hoping to at least win some praise for their performance here, and a chance now, after all the chopping and changing, to prove that they are the best men for the job in Sweden. And incidentally, it's worth pointing out that but for Martin Keown, all of the side were in the World Cup squad in Italy.
What's it like?
Walker with the free kick. England, as I'm sure you've noticed, wearing red. Pearce. Gary Lineker, who was really affected by and unnerved by that penalty failure early in the game against Brazil. He remains on the brink of history. This is Takio, who's been the leading scorer in the Finnish league over the past 2 seasons. They're just 6 or 7 weeks into this season in Sweden. They play through the summer, of course, here. So they should be in pretty good condition, relatively fresh, but as I said earlier, it was a bad blow for them losing to Bulgaria, and losing an early goal to England wouldn't help either. Their goalkeeper is Olli Huutonen, as he has been for getting on for 10 years now. Twice played against England before. Here's Litmanen. Takio setting off on a run, Des Walker staying with him. And at the moment, Keown has picked up the number 11, Huutamaki, leaving Mark Wright as the sweeper. You've been reading all about that, I'm sure, in your morning papers. And the one thing that Wright has been given licence to do when England get the ball is to get forward. Barnes operating really as the main attacking ally to Lineker. Trevor Stevens got into the centre, Barnes dallying on the ball. Here's Neil Webb. The pitch, incidentally, is very close to the international minimum measurements, particularly in width, and some in the England camp believe it's even smaller than that. It's not a great surface either. The grass is on the long side, which masks some of the bumps underneath it. Aimed towards Takio from the goalkeeper. Gary Stevens and Keown both challenging. Takio to take the throw. Huutamaki is something of a surprise selection. Here's Muru, the number 8, the small, stocky and dynamic midfield player who performed well, as a number of this side did, at Hampden Park in March. Gary Stevens, who went away on a holiday, thinking he'd been discarded by England. And now he's heading for the European Championships. Although we've all spared a thought or two here for Lee Dixon. Stephen. England almost too anxious to please. It is Renard. Muru, tidied up by Pearce. And Chris Woods, who gave such a fine display against Brazil, will hope not to be worked quite so hard in this game. England undoubted favourites, but the Finns do feel that playing against the British type, as they call it, brings out the best in them. Whether they expect this Graham Taylor system to be the British type remains to be seen. Certainly Walker is crucial to whichever way England defend. Stephen took that comfortably. He's got Lineker ahead of him. Setting off on a run now, as England keep it short through Stevens. Webb. Stephen again, smuggling it past Petaya. Lineker on the back heel was aimed for David Platt. England's stay an hour and a half to the north of here in Lahti has been very much appreciated both by management and players alike. Tests of initiative, psychological assessments. All designed to get mind as well as body right for the European Championships. 5 minutes gone here in Helsinki. Finland 0, England 0. The weather has been much warmer than usual, we're told. 3 weeks of sunshine they've had. The temperatures have been up in the 80s, but it's a little cooler today, which I'm sure the England players will appreciate. A bit of a breeze about. Walker. Platt starting the match as a midfield player, but with license to join up with Lineker and Barnes. A little different from what we saw against Brazil when he was the supporting forward, really, to the England captain. Right. Barnes getting it on to Lineker. It may be that England will have to find a route through the centre here. There just doesn't seem to be quite as much width as there usually is on an international football pitch. Tarkia makes space well enough. Pearce tangling, but not really tackling. Litmanen. Well, Finland got it back through the pressing of Ari Hjelm. Rena, one of the players from Kususi Lahti, the Finnish league leaders at the moment, played 7-1-7. They were the side that met Liverpool early in the UEFA Cup last autumn. Came off the head of Rena to Hjelm, with Barnes in there quickly for England. Lineker making up the ground. Petai, the captain, plays his club football in Sweden with Malmo on the ground where England will open their involvement in the European Championships against Denmark a week tomorrow. Holmgren with the throw. No real shape developing to the play so far. England players in their training camp have been kept away from the glare of the media. They re-emerged, as I say, in a very perky frame of mind. Certainly boosted for what lies ahead, but this might yet turn out to be an awkward type of fixture for them. Finland with a point or two to try and prove to their own supporters. Waiting for Järvinen, the number 3, to come up. In the end, it's knocked away by Platt, who's had to keep his mind on this particular assignment with all the transfer talk in Italy. Litmanen, who showed against Scotland what a good volleyer he is, but that wasn't one of his better efforts. Nudged wide by Webb to Stevens. And it starts for England with Wright. Foul on Lineker. He's got Järvinen for company. Jukka Bakila, the Finnish coach, really concerned about the speed in England's attacking play. They don't have a great deal of height at set pieces. Stephen intercepting for England, then back from Platt. But given licence to roam. Oh, and well, I must say we all flinch every time John Barnes shows any sign of pain. And now, what is the seriousness of this? The original injury that he's been fighting against, a damaged thigh, so that does suggest that the pain at least is in a different quarter, down by the ankle there. It really has been an awful year for him. Played in just over a quarter of Liverpool's matches, missing out on the climax to the club season. And it was Holmgren who just seemed to clip his ankle then. But Barnes went down and then really did exhibit signs of pain. Now the deadline for the naming of the squads for all 8 qualifying countries has been passed, with the one exception, of course, of Denmark, who will name their 20, we believe, tomorrow. And any casualties from this game, well, I think there would have to be very serious injuries indeed for replacements to be allowed. That's, I hope, over-dramatising the situation, because Barnes is prepared to play on after the treatment from Fred Street and Norman Medhurst. But it doesn't look too good. Let's hope he can run it off. Free kick from Stephen, looking for the height of right. Put back by Webb, and there's an offside against David Platt. And all English eyes at the moment, as the cameras here concentrate on the ball, on how Barnes is. Of concern from the player who inflicted the damage, Erik Holmgren, another of the Swedish-based players, and Barnes just lets that ball go. It looks to me as though he's not going to be able to stay on. Meanwhile, it's a free kick to Finland. Bo Carlson, who hasn't refereed an England game before, but his British memory is quite recent. He was in charge of Wales against Germany a year ago when he sent off Thomas Berthold. Barnes has gone right to the far touchline. And is standing without getting too much immediate sympathy from the bench. But he's indicating to the referee that he wants to go off. Well, preparatory matches have to be played, and there's always the risk of getting hurt in training. Just ask Lee Dixon. But of all the players, really, whose fitness was important to prove here, Barnes was top of the list. And he has lasted, what, 12 minutes into the game. Back from right. Here's Stevens. We'll try and get news of that injury as soon as we possibly can. Litmanen. Muru. Litmanen again. And the shot from Hjelm bounced away from Kiinanen's attempt to reach the ricochet. Muru. Takio. That's a lovely turn by Muru. With that low centre of gravity of his, he's put the shot wide. But England still really looking like a team in some shock about the departure so early in the match of Barnes. And the 10 men under some threat then. And Marco Muru who's a full-time professional, plays in Belgium, where he's been very successful. Well, he set the sights then, but put the shot wide when he was really well placed to at least force Chris Woods into a save. Here's Yell. And again. It was Futamaki trying to get through the centre. Lineker. Now guided forward by Webb. Takio. England waiting to bring on a substitute. It looks like Paul Merson. Merson is on, wearing number 16, as we get another view of just how far away Muru was. Oh, and that's a chance at the other end for Platt, as Huhtinen came out and didn't deal with the danger. Well, Merson has taken up the position vacated by Barnes. John Barnes, who played for England back in March against Czechoslovakia and had to come off early in the second half. Well, today it's early in the first half. And for a player with a rare gift in a side where Graham Taylor has already admitted that he feels a little short of individual flair, one can only hope at this stage that whatever the damage is, it can be quickly repaired. It was 8 years ago next week that Barnes scored that memorable goal against Brazil when he carved his way through the defence in the Maracanã. In a way, that goal, as his first for England, has been something of a burden to him, setting standards that have been virtually impossible to sustain. But there was such a delight that he was back for this match in the England party. Stevens. Webb. Well, I presume that was handball given against Trevor Steven. Arm down by his side. Grant Taylor's been very open about his thoughts now that the hour is looming, and admitting that he would have liked to have had Rob Jones at right back and Paul Gascoigne in midfield, but otherwise this starting lineup, which of course included Barnes, was very much what he had in mind. Webb, who's benefited really from Gascoigne's injury, as Gascoigne benefited a few years ago from Webb's torn Achilles tendon, playing for England in Sweden. Funny how Sweden keeps dropping up. But we're here in Finland, and it's been quite hard work for England so far. Platt. Well, there was a pass on left to Merson. He just delayed it a little too long. Now Pataya, the captain and sweeper of Finland. Takio, strong in the air. Muru. Futamaki going outside him. Watched all the way by Pearce. Laid back by Lineker. The long grass really working against England then. The passes have to be hit pretty crisply. Webb. With 20 minutes gone, some room here for Merson. Lineker lurking and looking in the centre. He'll stay there. Stevens. Webb on the right now. Merson's gone off the pitch behind the goal. And there's Mark Wright arriving in the middle. That's something that I think we'll see more of if England do get a grip on the game. In free play, Wright trying to act more in the continental way of playing as the sweeper. He's been given the freedom, but Graham Taylor recognises that with that freedom must come some responsibility as to when to make his move. But he was up in the Finnish penalty area. Rinna. Now Litmanen. Muru outside him, but not where the pass was aimed. Pearce. Here's Stevens. Lineker being dogged by Järvinen, who played at Hampden on the left of midfield. He has been acting as a defender recently for his club, Kutsusi of Lahti. Webb. Well, it was an excellent ball. And Lineker launched himself at it. Anytime Gary Lineker and the ball arrive anywhere near to the goal, we're all waiting to pay our respects. No one waiting with more urgency than Lineker himself. Muru again turning smartly under challenge and looking to ease the ball to the run of Rinna. Finland, incidentally, have never beaten England. This is their 9th attempt. The closest they came was in the last meeting 7 years ago now. They were a goal up at half-time in a World Cup qualifier before Mark Hateley equalised. More typical of the results has been the fixture here exactly 10 years ago, June the 3rd, 1982, when England won by 4 goals to 1. That was the last match before a tournament as well, of course, the World Cup finals of that year. Pearce. Webb's in the centre. Lineker, of course, is there. So too was Platt. It's Stephen on the ball. Now Litmanen, who doesn't have a great deal of pace, but has craft and great belief in his own ability, as you saw. Hjelm, who played a lot earlier in his career as an out-and-out striker, has scored 11 times for Finland. Huhtamäki couldn't quite make it. Mark Wright was right behind him. And Finland have a corner just past the halfway mark in the first half. Hjelm will take it. Holmgren going towards the near post. Huhtamäki is there as well. Takio and Järvinen poised to come in from deeper. Pearce, not an easy ball to clear. Rather bouncing up. Wright showing his authority in the air. Stephen moving smartly. Takio. Oh, and that was under hit by Wright, and it needed Pearce to help out. As Takio sensed perhaps an England error. Stevens. Here's Webb. And Gary Stevens has gone on into the centre. Huhtanen, who's not the tallest goalkeeper, and certainly in previous games against England, back in the mid-80s, has been troubled by crosses. Once had a trial with Sheffield Wednesday a long time ago. Webb working the right-hand side, trying to provide some aerial service to those in the middle. referee ordering the ball to be changed. The replacement will be sent out to Stuart Pearce to take an England corner. Walker and Keown and Wright, all three centre-backs have their positions now. Well, it didn't reach Huutonen. Muru, and England caught with their defenders committed up at the set piece, and Takio has got Litmanen up with him. Will it reach him? Well, oh, he's given a penalty against Trevor Stephen. A penalty against England. And that all came from an England attacker corner, which was cleared smartly, with Walker, Keown and Wright all stranded. Trevor Stephen felt that he played the ball. Bo Carlson, the referee from Sweden, the European Championship official, thought otherwise. And it's Ari Hjelm. His 66th international, and he drives it in. Finland, who have never lowered England's colours, are in front in the 27th minute. They left it to one of their older hands to take the penalty, and the responsibility rested comfortably on the shoulders of Ari Hjelm. So, problem upon problem for England. John Barnes off, and Finland in front. Litmanen, the player who was adjudged to have been tripped by Stephen. Stevens. I can bring you up to date now with the John Barnes injury. It is a kick on the Achilles, and the England medical men not sure of the extent of the damage. Damage of a different kind being inflicted on England in their own penalty area. Muru. And there's one or two little conversations going on in the England ranks as to how to get this sorted out. Graham Taylor has been making the point that England, playing the more conventional club system with 4 defenders marking zonally, has not brought a trophy since the World Cup of 1966, that we have to try a different way of playing. But that goal that England conceded, or the penalty, was really to do with not covering when defenders who would be sent up in any system were trying to score a goal. Pataya letting the ball run, and a chance to get the views on the opening half an hour from Ron Atkinson.
Just had an advantage of having a look at the penalty, and it would say quite categorically it wasn't a penalty. It looks very much as if Trevor Stephen has got to the ball first, and the Finnish player's gone over, and that's a very, very bad decision against England. But the play in general, you know, we're looking at it and thinking I'd like to see England just pass the ball through midfield a little bit more. We look as if we're a little bit hurried now to get the ball from back to front. Platt's making good runs. Webb's made good runs forward to join Lineker. But sometimes they're arriving there before the ball's really in a position to set up. I'd like to see them pass the ball a little bit more through midfield, be a little bit more patient, switch the play. And after all, what we're trying to develop is a team pattern and to get the confidence to knock the ball around. I'm sure if they do that, they'll pull the Finns all over the place. At the moment, the Finns are just hunting and hustling the ball, and as I say, taking the lead through, for me, a rather fortuitous penalty. The other point about that, Martin, we might make, might be an advantage for Grant Taylor to look at, is we had about four defenders up the field for the corner that they eventually springboarded from.
Thanks, Ron. We'll hear more from you later. For Finland, really soaring in terms of spirit now. It was only 3 weeks ago in their opening World Cup qualifier. They are in a very difficult group with France and Austria and Sweden and Israel, as well as the team that came here and won 3-0, Bulgaria. But it was a very dismal start to their campaign in that respect, and this is the first chance for them to drive the car again after the accident. And I must say, my first impression was very much along the lines of Ron Atkinson's, that Trevor Steven played the ball. The referee, seeing it from a different angle, had absolutely no doubts. Oh, and here's David Platt in for the equaliser. No, because Huuhtanen has formed a barrier there that seemed most unlikely. Platt, who volleyed in from much further out against Brazil to make it 1-1. That really was the clearest opening that England have manufactured. And as it dropped here, really, you'd have put money on David Platt. If anything, he was too close to the goalkeeper, and Huuhtanen was able to just spread himself, and it was a fine save, if a somewhat instinctive one. Marco Muro has been very influential for Finland in the middle of the field. Jalm, the scorer of the penalty, to take the throw. Straight onto the head of Wright, playing to his strengths. Lineker and Platt unable to link up. Rinna, Litmanen, put out by Walker. Football by no means the #1 sport in Finland, where they love their track and field, and of course their winter sports as well. But at the moment, the supporters here, an estimated crowd of around 15,000 in a stadium that's badly in need of being rebuilt. And some of that rebuilding is going on at the end behind Chris Woods. Knocked forward by Holmgren, cut out by Walker, tackled quickly by Huhtamäki. It's a throw to England, who are a goal behind with 11 minutes to go to half-time. Paul Merson on the pitch for John Barnes, who's gone off with a sore Achilles. Kicked there by Holmgren. Lineker, that's got to be a free kick. They're filling in the sandwich between Järvinen and Hjelm. Steven setting himself, but Pearce moving the ball as close to the goal as he can. Well, he does it so often for Nottingham Forest. If he gets the opportunity here, can Stuart Pearce strike at goal for England? It does favour, the angle favours the right footer more, but as seen Pearce for Forest try them from this side as well, and indeed succeed. Here he comes. The wall was well enough placed for Finland. And the outcome is an England corner. Again, Walker's come up. Harry Stevens left to cover in the centre. Keown peels away to make a run in at a ball he hoped would be a bit higher. And Pearce, rather typical of the way England have been operating. There's been such a willingness to please. They've tried to conduct the match at what you might describe as league pace, which is often in contrast to the more thoughtful style of international football. But England might be in here, and it's across the goal from Platt. And you do feel that the damage here is not irreparable. It ends as a goal kick. And another dart into a dangerous area by Platt. Webb, Lineker. There's no offside here. Merson took its position intelligently and prods it across. And this time it's Webb who comes close. Well, I think we all felt at the outset that the performance was perhaps a bit more desirable than a result. And England doing their best to impose themselves, having had an unhappy opening half an hour against a Finland side which always tries to lift itself for the challenge of playing against England. The English game well documented here as it is throughout Scandinavia. Lineker goes down, but not for long. Oh, he's gone down again onto his haunches. Surely not another injury. Huhtamäki head-to-head with Wright. Lineker flexing and limping slightly, but out of your picture, giving every indication that he will stay on as long as Graham Taylor wants him. Muru. Huhtamäki. Runner coming in, but Pearce usually comes out on top in those confrontations. It was just about his ball. England would certainly have liked a bigger pitch. They would have liked a surface more suited to a passing game. And they would have liked John Barnes to have shown the ability to last at least an hour of the game. I think he wasn't expected to play the full 90 minutes. Well, they haven't got any of those things. And they're a goal down. Let me remind you, if you've just come home, with 6 minutes to go to half-time, a penalty harshly awarded against Trevor Steven. Put away by Hjelm. The linesman was flagging. England took the free kick quickly. Platt, as you saw, quite clearly handled, but would have been given offside in any case. Right, beating Litmanen. Muru. Here's Runa. But Finland a bit deliberate in their passing, and it's Walker who takes them on superbly. And Stephen. Oh, and the decision is a goal kick. It's not going for Trevor Stephen. He's scampered across, absolutely sure he's got a corner, as the England supporters wonder about the latest ruling from this tall man. Referee, I would say, bigger probably than any of the players. As I said earlier, the last time England played here in 1985, they went in a goal down at half-time. It was in the group to qualify for the Mexico World Cup. Here's Muru. Offside against Runa. It must have been close. Runa, the runner. Trying to get in behind England. Mark Wright spoke out very honestly yesterday to say that this system is still foreign to the players, but they all see the value in trying to make it work. Right again. 3 minutes to go to half-time, and England are trailing in what was supposed to be not a stroll. For sure, Graham Taylor knew that this would be an international where the team would have to perform. But certainly, given the relative strengths of the two countries, it was not quite to go to this particular script, because England have conceded a penalty scored by Yelm after 26 minutes. Stevens with the throw. And who's coming in here? Oh, it was Pearce, and the Lineker. Pearce again. Oh. Finland still lead, but they wonder how their advantage has remained intact. Mark Wright was a nuisance. And then it was against the post from Pearce, against the bar from Lineker. Pearce with another header, and it landed on top of the net. Well, Lineker did not appeal. He certainly didn't give any indication that the ball had crossed the line. But how frustrating it is at the moment for him in his personal crusade and in the context of this particular game. Gary Lineker, Tottenham, is just about still correct. I think his contract runs until the end of this month. Although he has played his last game for the club. Mura. Oh, that's a great ball for Takio to take on England again. Well, the idea of playing three centre-backs is that the two front men are to be marked, and certainly Walker and Keown are regarded as the best man-for-man markers that the English game has produced in recent times. But Takio was free then. And Finland with a fine touch to their football. But here's Stephen. Well, there's certainly been an edge to the first half. First of all, in the tackling that saw the departure of Barnes, and certainly in the approach from Finland to try and match England, and of course in the England approach for this 11 to try and convince Graham Taylor that the right 11 to start against Denmark. I don't think they've achieved that target yet. We're into time, but the referee might choose to add on. Of course, there have been 1 or 2 injury stoppages apart from the Barnes departure. Webb. Oh, and there's no marking here on Platt. David Platt has equalised. And England assert themselves in stoppage time at the end of the first half here in Helsinki. Well, that will see them off to the dressing room in a much better frame of mind. And Trevor Steven, who was adjudged cruelly to have given away the penalty, came up with the answer. It was a great pass. And Platt had got away from the marking. And that is really a thumbnail sketch of David Platt's game. Free and finishing at international level, most capably, as he's done everywhere he's played throughout his career. Push on in that position that Ron Atkinson so graphically describes as 1-1. And the other thing I must tell you is that John Barnes has come back out to sit on the bench with England for the second half on crutches. That would be the case if precautions were being observed, as much as it would be the case with a serious injury. So I think we have to wait for a later diagnosis. Pearce takes the throw for England, Wright trying to muscle himself into a position. You might recall that Andy Sinton of Queen's Park Rangers was originally on standby for Barnes when there was doubt about that damaged thigh muscle that the Liverpool player had. That injury has now been repaired. So if Andy Sinton is watching at home, maybe the pulse is quickening a little bit. Rinner. David Platt, the scorer of England's equaliser, right on half-time. It's a wasteful ball by Wright. And Finland have also made a change. Their number 14, Ari Heikkinen. It was a surprise that he was left out, because he's regarded as one of the better markers in this country, and as you saw, they neglected David Platt on several occasions before he finally punished them. Heikkinen has come on and is taking Merson at the moment. The two of them involved now, and Merson gets behind Heikkinen and gets beyond Petaya. Is it going to go for Lineker? Not quite. But it was an incisive move from Merson, who I must say in his appearances for England, notably in Prague against Czechoslovakia in March, has looked a player who would adapt easily to the demands of the international game. Littman. Takio. Here's Lineker. Steven coming up outside him. Webb really wrapped his right foot around that one. Heikkinen is on for Holmgren. And England have a corner. Some starting to set beyond the main stand. I hope will make it a little easier for the cameramen in the second half. More of the game will be played in the shadowed area of the pitch. So Pearce to take the corner. Martin Keown climbing very well indeed. It's Merson. It'll be another corner. Well, England this time have left Des Walker back, having conceded a goal in the first half from a set piece, from one of their own set pieces. Just such a right-wing corner, as we're seeing now. Keown makes the same run away from the near post. Oh, he finally forced his way through the defenders, but didn't make contact with the ball. Maybe a complaint in passing. I think you'll realise that that isn't Tony Dorigo, despite the caption on your screen. Carlton Palmer, who you might have thought was pleased enough to be in the squad. He made a late run since the turn of the year. But talking to him yesterday, was very disappointed not to be in the starting 11. That's an indication of his competitiveness. He's played, of course, in the 3 previous internationals. Well, he's out there now to have a half. Right. Yell. Getting the better of the other number 9, Neil Webb. This is Kinnunen. It's a powerful break from him, and the cross didn't match it. Fortunately for England, neatly tidied up by Stephen. Kinnunen, the new cap, breaking down the left-hand side and worrying England. That's a free kick against Merson. Studying the penalty that Bo Carlson awarded, it was quite interesting that, looking at an angle from behind the goal at half-time, that Trevor Stevens stretched and missed the ball the first time, and it came back to him off Litmanen, and Litmanen went down over his leg. Here's Arena. Right, making sure the ball was his. Well, Rinner shaping for a long throw. Not quite so long. And well won for England by Palmer. Push by Heikkinen on Merson. If England maintain the momentum and the tempo of their play and the thrust of their football that they showed in the closing quarter of an hour of the first half, I would fancy them in this situation to go on and win. Lineker. Webb. It's a little too close to Huuhtanen. Earns his living not really from football, but from working in a paper mill on the computer side. As I say, half the Finnish side are part-timers. Yeah, I'm having to go back to get the ball on the track. It was graced in 1952 by Emil Zapopek. In particular, that amazing treble, the 5,000 metres, the 10,000 metres and the marathon, all in the same Olympics. Not exactly the same track, I suppose. It would have been cinders in those days. Palmer just overhitting as he looked for Pearce. Well, England still trying to make the chance for Gary Lineker to get level with Bobby Charlton on 49 goals. And really to take some of the pressure off the England captain before the European Championship starts. They'd love to get that sorted out today. It wouldn't lessen any incentives when he gets to Sweden, I'm sure. Well, they've got in behind England down the left again. Oh, it's just too high for Takio. Once more, it was Kinnunen. But this is Lineker. It's Merson in a race with Petaya, who's known for his speed, if not always for the quality of his back passing. He in particular was culpable here 3 weeks ago against Bulgaria. He gave away a goal with an individual mistake, gave away a penalty which Huuhtanen in fact saved. time, England have lined up, as you can see, with 4 on the edge of the area. Keown sets off now. Behind him, Platt, Palmer and Wright. All break to try and find space as the ball arrives. And right over the back of Huhtamäki. Walker. Oh, and he's lost out to Muru, who popped up like a jack-in-the-box behind him. I understand that the picture quality from Helsinki isn't all it might be for you. We do apologise for that. We're doing our best to rectify any fault. It's certainly a game to retain your attention. England not yet really in the driving seat. Yell. The header for England from Keown. Cut off by Rinna. Litmanen with a chance to express himself. Muru trying to get onto the same wavelength. And the understanding was there, if not the execution of the pass. Ten minutes into the second half in Helsinki. Finland 1, England 1. Yell. It's the first part of a double bill of international football for you. On the channel that is first with football, Sky Sports. Webb. 2 around Lineker. His constant shadow, Järvinen, one of them. And the other, the sweeper, Petaya. Free header for Walker. Stephen. There's been plenty of conjecture in the past as to whether Trevor Stephen should have the first claim on that role on the right-hand side. Well held by Huhtanen. The driven cross from Merson. But the job could have been Lee Dixon's, but he fell over on a training run. And jarred a knee. It didn't seem too serious at the time, but it developed into an infection. Very sad for him. Came down to earth with a bump in more ways than one. Free kick to Finland. With 12 minutes gone in the second half. Tarkio and Heikkinen on the far side, trying to shade their eyes against the sun, as indeed the 2 players involved in the free kick. Hjelm puts it goalwards, and Muru intelligently ran across the line of flight. There was an offside flag in any case. But Hjelm, who rammed in the penalty, treated that free kick in similar manner. He's back in the centre of midfield now. Been out of the Finland side on a regular basis for a couple of years because of injury. It's very much a first choice through the mid and late 80s, Ari Hjelm. And now with 12 goals to his name for Finland, moving up the all-time list. The record is 17. And the subject of records, it's not near enough to Lineker on that occasion. The linesman flagging, presumably, that the ball might have gone out of play in the first place. Well, more news for you about the John Barnes injury, and it's very sad news that there has been a report issued from the Football Association that they are going to ask for a replacement for him for the European Championship. The Achilles tendon is ruptured. We you're just hearing that for the first time and passing it straight on to you. Takio, and Wright leaves it to Walker, and you wonder at times what we would be at the back without Walker's capacity for recovery. No wonder he's been coveted by the Italian clubs and signed for Sampdoria. Webb. Well, that is bitter news to have to digest as the game still goes on here. And one can only speculate, but the favourite to be that replacement, one would expect to be Andy Sinton of Queen's Park Rangers. And here's Walker, very much in the picture for England. Pearce. Finland able to deal with the danger at the near post through Järvinen. Takio, who scores so many goals in the Finnish league, it's not quite the same illustrious standard as the type of football he's playing in today. He's only scored 3 times in 31 games for Finland. It all comes alike, though, to Lineker. Half an hour to go. Just bounced away from Keown. Finland break. And Takio trying to hold the ball up. Found the angular frame of Carlton Palmer, the barrier to him. Well, injury is an occupational hazard for professional footballers, but well, for John Barnes this season, ending on the sad note that's been struck so often for him. We've hardly seen him for club or for country, and now we understand we won't be seeing him in the European Championships. Hjelm advancing too far down the far touchline and forfeiting the throw. That injury happening so early in the game here. Merson, well, great responsibility on his shoulders, perhaps. As one door closes, it might open for somebody else. Palmer to be involved at the throw. Mark Wright making a move from the halfway line all the way up to the edge of the penalty area now and beyond. And the throw comes to Wright. Oh, Platt! England have got it absolutely right at the throw. And it's 2 for David Platt. Finland 1, England 2. 17 minutes into the second half. And practice here has made perfect. And Carlton Palmer comes on as a substitute to claim an assist with a huge throw. But Mark Wright guided on, and once more, Platt had lost them. And in that vulnerability, Finland may well have lost the game. Twice David Platt has galloped into positions from which he scored for England and taken his international tally into double figures. It's his 29th cap tonight. 10 goals in that period is a splendid ratio. Webb. Heikkinen was the player in the way initially, and now it's an England throw. Merson. Platt, who's on a hat-trick. Merson. Where's it going to run? Well, in the end, one of 3 players. Pataya, the sweeper, 3 Finnish players closer to the ball. There's an offside here against Merson. Finland finding it hard to clear the ball with any lasting degree. And what a contrast the season has been. Platt and Barnes. David Platt off on his Italian adventure, making himself a star in a new country. And clearly in the vein here to continue that impact right into the European Championships. Webb. Every England player wanting the ball. And Finland really in the firing line now. Oh, Hjelmes. He played it to Lineker. And then Webb hoping that it would spin into play. And one thing about England teams is whatever the system, whatever the style of play, the commitment is always total. Always hard to beat. And there have been difficulties to overcome here. And maybe more still. Nuru. That was Takio jumping with a hand up. With 25 minutes to go. Well, certainly the best of the markers for Finland has been Petri Järvinen, who's been allocated the task of stopping Ari Lineker, equalling Bobby Charlton's record and maybe even breaking that record. And well, there's still plenty of time. Pierce with the throw. Here's Webb. Huhtamäki. Takio, who's been conspicuous in the build-up play for Finland. He's quick and strong. Like a number of these players, has had a trial with an English club. Takio was at Sunderland. And once more, right alongside Lineker was Järvinen. England here trying to settle into a style of play that Graham Taylor hopes will increase the capacity, not for winning matches. England have always had an excellent record at doing that, but for winning a tournament.
Remettront en cause les accords de Maastricht.
As you can see, to Petaya. You've missed nothing of consequence. We'll introduce you to Tegelberry as soon as we get a chance. He's the substitute that came on during your short picture blackout. This is Mercer. Now Renner. Tegelberry, who's a very different type of build to Takio. He's short and squat. But here's Keogh with the rangy stride. Lineker. A little flick that didn't come off for the England captain. There's no offside here. Walker was the player who was playing the substitute Tegelberry on. But of course, in doing that, he still had the overdrive to get across and make sure that nothing too worrying occurred for England. 20 minutes to go. Renner. And again, Stephen showing how capably he can cope in that wide position. not too dissimilar, of course, to the midfield role that he had in his great days at Everton. And of course, behind him was a back four then, an orthodox right back, and it was usually Gary Stevens. Just a question of incentive for England here to keep going, and one would expect there to be plenty of that. Merson now possibly with a place in the starting lineup to secure. But how morale boosting was David Platt's first goal. If England had gone in one down at half-time with the news of John Barnes' injury to greet them as well, it might have been more difficult to put on this positive display in the second half. As it is, we do feel that Graham Taylor's team has a measure of control, rather than trying to threaten that. Arena. Now Littman. It's always a danger, although he's flitted in and out of the match. Webb. Palmer. Cleverly on for Lineker. Webb again. Not easy to take the ball on the first touch, and Webb accomplished that superbly. Palmer driving on, looking to whip it back for Lineker, and England have a corner. But again, stressing the fact that the players aren't comfortable with the type of surface that they're faced with here. That was a move of some quality. Stephen has come across to take the corner. And Wright, who wasn't going to be able to get to a challenge in the area of the ball, was pushing to try and free himself. A push that was spotted by the Swedish referee, Bo Carlson. He and both linesmen, and indeed the fourth official here, all go off to the European Championships as a quartet. Part of the international policy now after the disasters of the running of the line in the last World Cup. Try and get better expertise in that respect. Petaya. It's 8:30 here, local time, but no sign of darkness descending. Tegelberry. England doing well to try and prevent the cross. And when it does come in, all right, was just a little slack in trying to clear it. But England looking now like a team that believes that the game is going to be won. But with a couple of recent 2-2 draws, they certainly can't afford to relax. In Czechoslovakia, of course, and in Moscow. It is, given the extra quality of the opposition that happens over the next couple of weeks, it is the fact that keeping a clean sheet has been difficult for whatever team that Graham Taylor has put out over the last few months is something of a concern. Scoring goals hasn't been a problem. A point we've regularly made for you, that England have only failed to score on one occasion in the Graham Taylor regime, and that was the one defeat at home to Germany last September. Lineker, lovely dummy. Merson on the same wavelength. Lineker's cross. Petaya prodding it not away fully. Webb claiming he was fouled. The linesman pointed one way, and the referee has pointed for a foul against Webb. Well, I think most of the supporters in the evening sunshine here beginning to accept what they expected when they came here, that England would win. Kinnunen, wanting to complete the game on his debut. Yeah. Here's Muru. And the extra noise you're hearing now is not really to do with what's on view on the pitch, but the supporters, who I think from Finland's point of view are quite used to seeing their team not win internationals, even home ones. They're creating something of a party atmosphere for the game to finish in. With the wave, it's a bit difficult to link up one side of the ground with the other because of the empty end to the left. Webb. Now Pearce. Tidied up by Runa. Well, there's more activity in the crowd at the moment than there is, at least from the Finnish players. It's been the usual very friendly welcome for English visitors here. And as I said earlier, the training facilities provided by the Finnish authorities at Lahti, which was the concentration camp, if you like, that Graham Taylor took the team away to last week, were absolutely just right for the job intended. And here's Lineker. Oh, well, it was a shot, but it's the goal that we're waiting for. And of course, Harry Lineker, if selected, can count on only 3 more internationals after this one. Of course, we all hope there will be a couple more, a semi-final and a final in the European Championships. But really, when you think about it, it will be just like Lineker to do the damage on a day when it really mattered. Maybe a week tomorrow at the expense of Denmark. He's still got 12 minutes here. On a day when David Platt has taken the goal-scoring limelight from him, not for the first time. A lot of the Finnish supporters would have liked Lineker to have done it today at the expense of their own team. That's the esteem that they hold Lineker in. Here's Walker. It's a Finland throw. There will still be those who support the Ron Atkinson view that England do look more comfortable playing with 4 at the back. And I don't think the system decided on here has been proved to be a 100% success. And there's certain to be weak spots in it simply because the players don't use it that often. And as Finland make another change, taking off Runa and bring on Jari van Halle, another striker, just a chance for Ron Atkinson to give us his views on the second half. Ron.
Yes, well, it's turned out to be, since the goal, it's turned out to be a little bit of a stroll, hasn't it? I think basically now the main thing is just to keep passing the ball, make sure nobody gets injured, because after the John Barnes incident, it's important that no other players go down. I think a big plus from the England point of view is the fact that David Platt has rediscovered the goal-scoring knack. I mean, goal scorers thrive on confidence. You know, we're seeing with Lineker at the moment, he doesn't seem as if, although I've got to bet he might just score in the last 5 minutes with Richard here, but you know, Platty all of a sudden, 3 goals in the last 2 internationals. That'll be a big plus for England going away next week. I would like to see them play with just a little bit more control, but I mean, they do work hard, and I suppose they're going in on the back of a very big and beaten run. So that's a confidence booster in itself. Although this match really has been a sort of walkover for them, I think.
Thanks, Ron. Yes, England, if you go back to the entire period from the end of the last European Championship finals in '88, England have lost 3 of 46 games. It's pretty certain to be 3 out of 47 in a few minutes' time. But obviously the jewel in that particular crown was getting to the World Cup semi-final. But there have been several similar sequences of such good statistics in the past in between tournaments, and you get very little for that. You get qualification, of course, and it was obviously the main priority at the start of this season that's drawing to a close over the next few weeks to do that. Kinnunen, and with Finland making regular alterations to their lineup in the second half, they've lost what threat they had in that opening half an hour. But here's Tegelberg. I would say again, and I promise for the last time, that the smallness of the pitch and also the length of the grass, not ideal circumstances. And England are going to give the use of that grass and the very limit of the width of the pitch, I'm sure, to Tony Daly, as Trevor Steven goes off with just under 8 minutes to go. Well, Finland trying to reply to England's second goal in kind from a long throw of their own, but now they're caught having to chase back as Merson takes it up for England. Daly has joined Lineker through the middle, and Merson tries it. A provider of many a spectacular goal for Arsenal. And it was a worthy attempt, aiming for the far corner, and the ball just arrowing beyond the junction of post and crossbar. Webb. Here's Pataya. Well, this match is almost over, but don't forget our football on Sky Sports today is far from finished. Norway against Scotland coming up, a chance for you to make your own comparisons between England's chances and Scotland's chances in Sweden. Pearce, that's fallen well for Finland. And Muru, Van Halle, and again Walker to the rescue. That had them on their feet at that end of the ground. But somehow you don't feel the drama when Walker's around. You know he'll deal with the danger. He's one player we really cannot afford to have injured. On a day when injury again has been a word that's had to be used in the context of John Barnes. That's Litmanen, and it's a corner. And there's still just over 5 minutes to go. England, who went behind to the penalty, converted by Ari Hjelm in the first half. David Platt equalising on half-time and scoring again in the second half. Wright's header away. Wright, who set up that second goal by heading on the long throw from Carlton Palmer, a second-half substitute for Gary Stevens. Pearce, good to see him back and safely, give or take a minute or two, through a full game. England, of course, had a special match at Lilleshall after the Brazil game to just confirm his fitness. Not only the wave now, the ticker tape. Finland always enjoy having England here. They would love to get a win against an English side, and well, there was more than the glimmer of a chance of it earlier on. That's Pearce's cross veering towards Huuhtanen. Huuhtanen, who was helped in his goalkeeping by the General Secretary of the Finnish Football Federation, Pentti Alaya, who was the goalkeeper here 10 years ago when England won 4-1. Daly. Always an extra air of excitement. And it may well be now that his role will have to be rethought. He's a candidate, of course, to play from the start in the absence of Barnes. But I suspect that Graham Taylor has felt that Tony Daly's effectiveness, given his lack of international experience, come the big days over the next couple of weeks, might be as the surprise package from the bench. Daly, now Palmer. Kataya. Daly trying to give a flagging Kinnunen. A difficult last few minutes. He didn't flag too much. Finland haven't won an international for more than a year now. This will be their 9th game without a victory. Unless, of course, they can score twice in the 3 minutes that remain. Pataya. Keown with Van Halle his charge now. Van Halle, the latest substitute to arrive, who scored in April against Brazil. Finland actually played very well in South America, lost 3-1 having taken the lead. When you think what Brazil might have done to England at Wembley, certainly a goal Van Halle will cherish for the rest of his life. He'd cherish an equaliser here if he got the opportunity, but England have certainly restricted Finland in the second half. Palmer. Now Merson. Through for Lineker. And it's rolled wide for a corner. Pataya made sure that he was just kept out of harm's way. England have a corner. 2 minutes to go. It was a clever pass from Merson. This is Webb on the volley. Neil Webb has really epitomised the cheeriness of the England squad when they re-emerged on the time they were kept away from the media. Obviously, he's given his problems at Manchester United over the last couple of months. Absolutely thrilled to be involved in the squad and in the team. Put out by Walker. Litmanen goes off as Finland make yet another change. Jukka Vuorola will do well to get a touch of the ball in the time that remains. Heikkinen with a throw. Walker. Palmer, who's impressed, but he wasn't successful then. He'll need to get a long leg working there, and it was no great alarm for England in the end. Graham Taylor has certainly, whichever way he's chosen to play, got teams that have held up their heads in away matches. England still unbeaten outside Wembley under his management. This is the 11th such match, and it will be win number 7 to go with the 4 draws And that's good going by anyone's standards, despite the doubts about the way we should play. And despite the experimentation that had to go on to try and get the squad sharpened down to the right 20 to go to Sweden. The 20 now that is even now going to have to be reassessed because of the real sad side of this fixture. The desperate moment for John Barnes with the Achilles tendon problem that we believe has definitely ruled him out of the European Championships. The Barnes situation will obviously make big headlines. So too will David Platt, who's driven England back from defeat with 2 goals. Daly. Now Pataya. England head off for the European Championships with a victory here in Helsinki. By no means a straightforward one, because they were a goal behind, Trevor Steven conceding a penalty and Ari Hjelm giving Finland the lead after 26 minutes. That after John Barnes had gone off in desperately sad circumstances. But David Platt to the rescue. 13 wins in 21 internationals under Graham Taylor. The preparatory matches have ended here with England beating Finland by 2 goals to 1.
Martin, thank you very much. No record for Gary Lineker. The desperate news, of course, from the Football Association back here in England is that John Barnes is out of the European Championships. He ruptured an Achilles tendon.